Hello all, welcome back to another video. Welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema. Today on the channel, guys, is going to be a bit of an overdue video. Now, I was very kindly tagged by my wonderful friend Ollie at Ollie Loves Films to take on the challenge of doing a response video of my top 10 favourite movies of the 80s. Now, I've got to say, guys, this was a bit more tricky because the 80s just gave us some of the greatest movies you're ever going to see in your life. Some of the most acclaimed movies out there came from that decade. It was just a perfect timing for, like a wide range of genres, a director's work, an actor, for instance, Tom Hanks or Michael Keaton, that was finding their feet and hitting the ground running as an actor, and that would eventually evolve within different roles as the years went on, thanks to, starting out their career into the 80s. And yeah, so this is a fantastic decade of movies. And there are some acclaimed movies that, as much as I am going to say, guys, all of these movies I'm about to talk about, including my honourable mentions, I absolutely love these movies. But there was only 10. I could only narrow it down to 10 movies that I think are my absolute favourite films of the 1980s. Just to say as well, guys, there is no right or wrong here. This is all subjective. This is only my personal top 10 favourite films of the 1980s. Everyone's going to have different lists, and that's absolutely fair fucking play, because wouldn't it be such a boring, dull world if we all liked the exact same movies and stuff? It would just be such a one-dimensional world. So yeah, absolute fair play that we've all got different lists and stuff. So anyways, guys, enough waffling on now. As I say, I am going back to my parents for Easter for a couple of days as of tomorrow. I am recording this on Saturday the 4th of April, so wanted to record this video before I go away tomorrow. And tonight I am off to see Echo and the Bunnymen, or it would have been last night by the time this video goes out. So gonna get right into it, the honourable mentions now, guys, and I'm not gonna spend ages talking about these movies, otherwise it would just be a mega long video. And a lot of these movies, obviously, we already know and we love, and we know they're well reviewed anyways. Honourable mentions, obviously I had to include Star Wars in there with The Empire Strikes Back, just the Godfather of the Godfather Part 2, I should say, sorry, of the Star Wars film series. Yeah, this is just how you do a follow-up to A New Hope. Again, that just swept at the Oscars, gave us one of the greatest movies ever as well, in my opinion, with The Empire Strikes Back. Two of the greatest films ever to come out. What was it in the space of 3 years? It is just unbelievable. And again, this is just one of the most iconic movie characters, with Darth Vader really, coming to town, and you're seeing the real identity behind his character with that most iconic scene. Some great introductions with Yoda. Lando, who is a pretty underrated character, in my opinion, played by Billy D. Williams. Great opening scene, obviously, when you see Luke Skywalker. There's obviously the planet with Hoth and the AT-AT walkers. And yeah, just a really great film. Again, I just love kind of the shifting tone within this. And again, just the way Luke is acquainted with Yoda as well. Again, Darth Vader coming to the forefront in this as well, and you're waiting for that classic reveal towards the end. So Empire Strikes Back, and then a film I did rewatch recently, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one of the best comedy films ever made, in my opinion. Really great stuff. Matthew Broderick as Ferris Bueller, who cool as a cucumber, and a film at the time pretty original and a great definition of a simplistic plot done remarkably well, where, you know, Matthew Broderick as Ferris Bueller skives off school for one whole day, and the way him and his two best friends pack so much into one whole day, it is just makes for a fantastic film and a great time. And obviously you've got a great rival to the story with the main head teacher, Mr. Rooney. Great stuff, that one. And John Hughes just brought the magic to a lot of these comedies and coming-of-age dramas. I'll give a quick mention to The Breakfast Club while I'm at it as well. Then Die Hard, again, wherever you class it as a Christmas film or you don't class it as a Christmas film, you can't deny it, guys. This is one of the greatest action movies of all time. Bruce Willis, John McClane, who is this ultimate action hero, firing at all pistons, you know, there to save this, you know, like this ultimate, like, high tower, this, you know, like this tower block in, like LA, and he's a rookie cop. And yeah, there's quite an interesting side story, family plot in there. And yeah, like also just this Christmas party that just goes absolutely AWOL as the moment Hans Gruber and his and yeah, like his like team of armed terrorists come into the picture here. And it makes for a great cat and mouse chase throughout. Again, some awesome action set pieces here, and some classic one-liners. Come out the cars, we're going to few beers, have a few laughs. It's just really great stuff. Love the conversations between Lloyd and John in this film as well, when they're talking over the radio. Fantastic film Die Hard is. Fright Night, again, a definition of 80s magic when it comes to the horror subgenre, where, again, some of the best films ever made so happen to be horror films from the 80s. And yeah, this is one of the best horror films ever. I absolutely love Fright Night. A great original take on the vampire subgenre, obviously with obviously like a group of vampires that move into the neighborhood, and Charlie Brewster, played by William Ragsdale, who has suspicions that he's seeing things that, you know, is kind of beyond his of wildest imaginations, but yet no one believes him, not even his best friend. With Evil Ed and, you know, Amy, his girlfriend in the film as well. And yeah, and then obviously the only person that he thinks will believe him is Peter Vincent, the host of this TV vampire show. And again, the 80s soundtrack is astonishingly good. Again, absolutely love the scene with obviously the dance night and the ballroom, and again like the dance, the dance night that happens. And yeah, just again that music, and there's like tension here and there, and I think it just where one character looks over another character, and I just love that. So Fright Night, great movie. Evil Dead 2, my favourite entry into the Evil Dead film series. Again, a film that Sam Raimi, you know, with a bigger budget, he kind of took what he had from the original Evil Dead, which is, don't get us wrong, guys, I'm going to give a quick mention to the original Evil Dead, by the way, because I absolutely love and adore that film as well. But Evil Dead 2, what the original had to offer, and with its shoestring budget, which is a work of astonishment and just a sheer class achievement as it is. is elevated within its follow-up, and it goes above and beyond again with its use of, again, practical work, special effects. It's kind of these new forms of dead knights that come into the picture here. Bruce Campbell, that is finding his feet as this hero, Ash Williams, who we kind of saw, you know, as still a decent character into the original, but he becomes his own force of nature in his sequel and went down as one of the greatest horror movie leading characters ever put to screen. That classic line, groovy in there, the score, the reflection of the original and the Book of the Dead. And again, very interesting side story with this archaeologist's like daughter in there. And again, a really great set of characters that you are rooting for here. So Evil Dead 2 had to get a mention, and one of my absolute favourite horror films ever. Can't wait for Evil Dead Burn, that I think is coming out later this year as well. Then Gregory's Girl, one of the best British movies ever in my opinion, and just again how you do a great coming of age comedy drama set in Glasgow, just such a feel good movie, guys. Again, Claire Grogan, who at the time was still in Altered Images, the main guy who plays Gregory is such a he's very kind of, he's a bit goofy, but he is a bit goofy in a lovable way, and he's got a great wit about him. And again, the fact that there's this girl that joins this football team, and is Dorothy, who is absolutely beautiful in this movie. Nice set of legs indeed. She's beautiful in this film. Is the actress. Fantastic British film, great Scottish humour in there, great opening scene where they're all like doing a bit of I Spy in there as well. But yeah, really funny stuff. Gregory's Girl, and of course the director, Bill Forsyth, pretty underrated director as well. Then Jim is going to be very happy what I'm about to include here, at least as an honourable mention. The Blues Brothers. Yeah, love and adore this movie, guys. I remember, again, that year, going back to that time in my life in the 2009 where I was falling in love with film to the point where I was checking out a lot more movies that I never thought twice about, like, again, all those years prior. And yet, The Blues Brothers fits in that category. I remember sat one night, I put the DVD on, and I just fell in love with this movie. Absolutely did. Love the chemistry between Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. Yeah, that scene where they're constantly cursing and swearing is so damn funny at the start. Again, that classic ultimate car chase scene towards the end is absolutely epic. You've got great appearances from, I think, Aretha Franklin and Ray Charles in this movie. I do quite like, again, the setting with Chicago, the scene with that apartment block as well. And yeah, it's just a very fun, charismatic movie, this is. And again, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, you know, the main pairing in this has got to be one of the most beloved pairings put to screen there. So that is the Blues Brothers. Then 2009, that year where I was falling in love with film, and I was really, really getting into Tom Hanks's filmography at that time. And again, I think I remember one Easter weekend, me and the family, we all watched this, and we sat down and watched this, fell in love with the film. And I think that same year and that Christmas, I think it was, we were about to break up for the Christmas holidays, and I said to the English teacher, this would be a really good film for us to watch before we broke up for the Christmas half term at the time. And we all watched Big. Yeah, Big. love this movie, you know, a childhood staple of mine. Again, this was even before I checked out Forrest Gump for the first time. I know that's from the 90s, but yeah, just beautiful movie, great coming of age story here. Again, I love the comparison between, you know, this evolving around the same character when he's a lot younger to when he's a lot older. And, you know, you've got the comparison piece there, but then you really find if this new life is working out for Josh, played by Tom Hanks, and he somewhat feels like he's distant from his best friend. He meets this lady played by Elizabeth Perkins. John Hurt, who, like, R.I.P. John Hurt, great actor. Yeah, and obviously this was just before he played the father in Home Alone. I've got to say, John Hurt did a great job in this film, but his character in this film is a bit of an arsehole, I've got to say. But there were times where he did crack me up, actually, as well. But John Hurt, power to him, obviously. I did think at the same time he did a really good job in this film. So yeah, beautiful film. Love that classic piano scene as well with Frank Langella. I love that scene by, again, that toy store as well. You know, like obviously Frank Langella and Tom Hanks, where they're acquainted, and they're obviously, again, I think because they're working for this toy advertising company there as well. So great stuff. That is big. American Werewolf in London. How could I have this video without mentioning one of the greatest horror movies ever and a pinnacle of testament to the werewolf subgenre. American Werewolf is just absolutely fantastic. Again, one of the greatest transformation scenes ever put to screen. Its use of practical work, its special effects is just unbelievable here, off the scale, off the charts. John Landis brought, you know, a slice of magic to this subgenre. There was not another werewolf movie like it at the time. That great opening scene with the Yorkshire Moors, and you've got Brian Glover in the pub, the Slaughtered Lamb pub. Again, I'm trying to think of his name now. Let's see, what's the guy's name? Griffin Dunn and his best friend in there in that opening scene. And again, the film goes through a complete 180 when it takes place in London, and they've got like this new threat on their hands to the story, but there's more than meets the eye sort of thing. And it just so happens that someone is in the position of being a werewolf but doesn't want to cause as much harm there. So yeah, American Werewolf in London there. And the last of the honourable mentions, and a film that I've seen twice. I think this is Wim Wenders' masterpiece in my opinion, and that is Paris, Texas. Beautiful movie. I can see this film taking a lot of inspiration from Kramer versus Kramer with this. It's got that similar feel about it. Hardly no dialogue at the start from Harry Dean Stanton's character, but then when he's found one day by, is it his brother or someone that he's known from way back when, and he gives him a car ride home one day, and he's just found by, I think, by the middle of the road, by this desert, and then he really wants to be, like, obviously reunited with his son, and to, like, obviously find where his mother has gone, and like kind of when his mother like just like drives away one day. And it's just a beautiful movie, guys. That scene with the telephone conversation brought a tear to my eye when I first watched that. Very impactful, moving stuff right there. And yeah, just love the chemistry between Harry Dean Stanton and his son in there. And it is just a beautiful movie, guys. Again, that has a tug at the heartstring, that classic monologue scene with Harry Dean Stanton towards the end. Fantastic. So, guys, those are all the honourable mentions. And now I'm going to get right into it now with my top 10 favourite movies of the 1980s. So grab yourself a cuppa or beverage of your choice. It is the bank holiday weekend. And like I say, guys, all subjective here. This is only my personal top 10 favourite films of the 1980s. So grab yourself a cuppa. Let's roll the credits and bring on this response tag video. Come on, bring on the show. It's the bank holiday weekend. Let's rock and roll. Let's go.
Blu-ray stacking up, yeah, the collection grows. Singing like nobody's watching, let the good times flow. Movies on repeat, yeah, he living that life. Great guy, big heart, yeah, he doing it right. Screen light glowing while the speakers bang. Sammy G vibing to the scenes and the frames. Love for the art, yeah, the passion stay true. From the first press play to the end credits roll.
Number 10 is going to be potentially my favourite Tim Burton film, come to think of it. And of course, guys, I had to go with the 1989 Batman. Yeah, this is one of my favourite films ever, guys. This is a 5-star film for me. I think there's 4 of the Batman live action films I've given the full 5-star to. And yeah, this is just an absolutely amazing film where Tim Burton just brought new life to the DC universe with this on screen. And Michael Keaton, who was an up-and-coming talent at the time where he was mainly starring in like comedy roles, and when this got announced that he was taking on the role as Bruce Wayne, a lot of people raised a few eyebrows. They were a bit unsure of this, but he totally surprised each and everyone who saw this movie and was so surprised by his performance. And yeah, just the way it's handled with the origin story of Bruce Wayne and his parents, shifting change from Bruce Wayne into like Batman, and Batman again, that music by Danny Elfman, that is glorious. Again, Jack Nicholson at the peak of his powers ever as the Riddler, who again you see from Jack someone, is it, evolving as the Riddler is a fantastic part of the film as well. One quite abrupt scene by, is it like this acid? I think it is like this acid hazardous waste. And again, that commercial side of the movie where you can see him really coming into the character there and making a name for himself. But again, the production design, again, the rivalry between Batman and the Joker, whilst it's considered more superior possibly within The Dark Knight, which I wouldn't argue with that, obviously, because The Dark Knight is one of my absolute favourite films of all time. But I think just The Dark Knight, in my opinion, is a better made and a better movie, in my opinion. And I absolutely love that film. But I think this actually does have my favourite Batman, Bruce Wayne with Michael Keaton, and my favourite Joker with Jack Nicholson, not taken away from Heath Ledger and Christine Bale. Ultimate rivalry within The Dark Knight, and what makes that film that extra phenomenal there. And obviously they are the heart and soul of that movie. But yeah, I absolutely love Batman 89, and that soundtrack by Prince is GOAT. Then at number 9, we have Blade Runner. What can I say about Blade Runner that hasn't been said before? This is a fantastic Ridley Scott sci-fi film, very futuristic and original for its time. Again, I think set in like LA in, 2019, although this didn't turn out that way. It really captures that futuristic setting and that vibrancy. Again, that it has sort of, again, these replicants, and again, these like replicants, I think there's there's only 6 of these replicants left. One of them is led by, again, the ultimate villain in this, with Roy Batty, played wonderfully by Rutger Hauer, who is an ultimate threat to the story. Harrison Ford as Detective Deckard, I think it is. He is such a badass leading character in this film. That side story with Rachel as well is, and you've got that real kind of a slice of romance there when it's like kind of at least like expected. Really, really great stuff, guys. And again, that beautiful monologue with "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe." That classic chase scene, like by the market as well, and yeah, like obviously like by this like market and stuff, and Detective Deckard is doing all in his power to track down Roy Batty, who is the leader of these replicants. And love the side story with, I think it's Jonathan, and he's got like these like kind of yeah, like his own like puppet work up, and like yeah, like his own like kind of creative side there as well. Daryl Hannah as well, like Daryl Hannah and that guy Jonathan, they've got an interesting side story. So fantastic film, guys. Blade Runner, directed wonderfully by Ridley Scott, and that soundtrack by Vangelis, perfecto. Then at number 8, guys, this could be a little bit of a hot take that I'm putting this above Blade Runner, but I think this movie, whilst I get Blade Runner is the better made movie and considered the better film, and again, I couldn't fault that for 1 minute. This is a film I've seen more times than Blade Runner personally, and David Lynch is one of my favourite directors. This is a film that, like Blade Runner and Batman 89, another film where love at first sight, instant. Again, I think this was an instant 5 stars on Letterboxd. Definitely gone down in my top 50 films of all time there. Blue Velvet, I have reviewed this movie. I have talked about this film again so many times on the channel because I love it that much. Again, David Lynch's take on like kind of it's kind of like a bit of a noirish or stylistic Hitchcockian feel, like sort of detective thriller. And my goodness, it absolutely delivers. This is phenomenal, guys. I absolutely love and adore Blue Velvet every single minute of this film. Again, a really interesting story with obviously Jeffrey's father in there, but then Jeffrey, who thinks this evidence is interlinked with the, you know, brilliant Dennis Hopper as the absolutely unapologetic and mean-spirited Frank Booth in this, who is a very, you know, like he's again a character you just love to hate, but you love watching Dennis Hopper on screen here. My goodness, one scene where he's constantly, you know, like beating someone up. It is just so intense and so anxiety-inducing to watch. Again, the side story with the detective's daughter with Sandy, played by Laura Dern, with Kyle MacLachlan as Jeffrey. It is just a fantastic film, guys. It is so damn good. That monologue scene with Laura Dern, and then you've got that score piece, that song playing in the background with from Julie Cruz. It's probably my favourite scene of the film. What a fantastic film, Blue Velvet. Love it. Love every minute of that. And my best viewing of this film was at Cineworld Newcastle earlier in the year. Then coming in at number 7, I have gone for my favourite Christmas film, and I think I can understand why there might be a lot of people who wouldn't class as a full-on Christmas film, and I get it. I totally understand it, but to me, it does everything a Christmas film should do. And again, it's all there with, again, Billy getting this like a mogwai as a Christmas present, and he's about to discover there's more than meets the eye. Again, Phoebe Cates with her bit of a sweet side story to why she doesn't like Christmas, and about her father is Santa. And again, the opening scenes with, again, Christmas by Darling Love in the opening credits. And yeah, the Gremlins as the Christmas carols. I could go on, but I just absolutely love and adore Gremlins. It is my favourite Christmas film. I watch it every Christmas Eve. Although I think, did I watch it Christmas Eve on the 23rd of December last year? And yeah, wonderful movie. Really intrigued to what's going to happen with the third one with the returning cast as well. And yeah, fantastic film. That is Gremlins. Right, and then just missing out on my top 5 is going to be what is considered the ultimate coming-of-age movie, and rightly so. I think this has got to be one of the best Stephen King adaptations. And again, 2009, that year, I was watching a lot of movies for the first time. I was discovering a lot of film like I never had done all those years prior to that, when I was 11 years old. And I remember, I think the DVD was bought, or it was rented from like Blockbuster in Halifax, gosh, all them years ago. And this is one of the movies I think either bought or rented. Stand By Me. Oh, fantastic. And this film is getting its 40th anniversary cinema re-release. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get this at the Market Pavilion here in Blythe. But nonetheless, I'm obviously going to venture out wherever the nearest is to see this on the big screen. This is just such a phenomenal film, guys. Deals with grief and loss, and it deals with the fact that there's growing up. It's set in the summer of 1959. And again, got a bit of sentimental value to it, but it's just a beautiful movie. A guy, Goldie, who is just... Is it Goldie? Goldie, who is looking back on his life, when his childhood, like his 3 best friends with Vern and Ted and Chris, his bestest friend of all. And it's just a beautiful movie where they're all spending the summer together before they go their separate directions. They've been told that there is a dead body, that if they find this dead body, they basically get this hefty reward. But then when Ace, again a great rival to the story, Ace, played by Kiefer Sutherland, and his best friend in that film are definitely a couple of arseholes in there, but brilliant film, guys. Again, really well narrated, and just the summery setting. This is a great one to watch during summer as well. And to quote Fern in this film, this is a great time, a ball, a blast. Brilliant. The top 5 spot for, I think it's Champions League territory nowadays, with number 5 in the table. And that is Back to the Future. Again, Mike, did you see that? Is going to be so happy this film is making its place in the top 5 here. And it's just an incredible sci-fi film. A brilliant definition of how you do a sci-fi film with, again, surrounding the main protagonist in, you know, like the same location within 2 different time periods, and it is just executed so well here. Again, Marty McFly, and played by Michael J. Fox, who is just as cool as a cucumber in this film. He just plays it cool, plays it casual. And again, Marty, who goes back to 1955, where his parents meet, and he's trying at all costs not to, you know, like, get in the way of that. And yeah, like, to make a ripping time, is it? Like, that's it. And then basically, Doc Brown, played by the awesome Christopher Lloyd, is like there to accompany him and to take him back to 1985 present day in this movie. But this is again just a wonderful sci-fi film, great setting with obviously the disco and the prom night in this film as well, where George McFly meets the mother in this. A bit of an arsehole in the movie with Biff, who again, very imitating, and you're really rooting for George, to get back at him there, and obviously not back at him, but obviously just to you know, like, really give him a piece of his mind. And just, yeah, absolutely love and adore Back to the Future, and obviously would be spawned onto one of the most beloved trilogies of all time there, wonderfully directed by Robert Zemeckis. And how can I forget that awesome soundtrack as well? Coming in at number 4, we have got, and I had to include this in here because this is a film series. I'm yet to delve into the sequels, but the original, the first installment into this, is one of my favourite films of all time. And that is the original, The Karate Kid. When I first watched this film, again, I think this was probably about 2010 or something when I watched this. I think when the same year as the remake came out with Jackie Chan, who I don't mind that film as much, but it's got its problems. But this absolutely is another level of glory here, no doubt about it. Again, Ralph Macchio as Daniel, who is the ultimate underdog in this film. He moves to this new town, and again, he starts at a new school as well. And then him and his mother that moved to his new town, and then he's kind of the new kid on the block in this film. He meets, I think, Elizabeth Shue's character, and again, I think it's Alice. Ali. They start to have a bit of a bond, a little bit of a relationship along the way, and then obviously Johnny Lawrence, who is the ultimate rival to the story here. And then you've got Mr. Miyagi, who is, again, the ultimate source of inspiration and teacher, with Daniel to go under training within karate and learning the ways of karate in order to get his revenge back at like Johnny Lawrence and his co-associates there. And it all lies down to this up-and-coming tournament where it kind of sets the template for like training underway there, and it tells for a great friendship story, a beautiful movie. Again, this is a great summary set into this one, a great 80s feel about it. Ralph Macchio, where Daniel you see evolve as a character, and you see that progressively go on into the sequels. Just, what can I say that hasn't been said about this film? A fantastic story here. Again, love the beach scenes, the boat scene as well, prank scene as well, by, I think it's like this costume party. Just fantastic film, that one, the original Karate Kid. Then, guys, coming in at number 3 and number 2, number 1, all got one thing in common. They're all horror movies, and they also will be in my top 5 horror films. There's just no denying it. Coming in number 3. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a hot take incoming, the film I'm putting above it, but it's by the same director. This film, however, is the better made movie and regarded as the far superior movie. And on another day, I could just love this as much as my number 2 pick here. But at number 3, Tim, gonna be so happy where that I'm putting this high up on this list here, because I think this is Tim's all-time favourite movie, if I'm not mistaken. And yet, Tim, I totally get that, bud, because this is one of my favourite films ever as well. And that is John Carpenter's The Thing. Everything good and everything really awesome about the original Howard Hawks film with The Thing from Another World from, I think, is it 1955, 1953, one of the two. And everything was good and everything grand about that film is elevated and escalated into another whole level of glory here, directedly, masterfully by John Carpenter, the master of horror, who before this was already making great horror movies, but he said, right, here's The Thing from Another World. What can I do with this film? As obviously, I'm sure John Carpenter still loved the film, but what can I do here to put it into a new light and have my own fingerprints to it? And within this, he went for it. He went for it and he ran with it. And he gave us one of the greatest films ever made, period. It is just fucking phenomenal in every sense of the words here. That whole practical effects, and again, the transformation, the shifting tone here, the use of special effects is astonishingly good. It is fucking amazing on every single way. And again, that real kind of the use of practical work and this threat to the story in different shapes, and that it is so scary, so terrifying, nail-biting what this new threat can do and the places it goes in order to give these Arctica research scientific team a real like a turn for the worse and a real sort of wake-up call there. But yeah, as well as that, again, you just got a brilliant set of characters with Giles and obviously Palmer, McCready in there, who is such a badass leading character played by Kurt Russell, very much a favourite of John Carpenter, and rightly so, because he is just amazing in this film. And it's just, again, brilliantly directed. Again, it's one of those films that captures the wintry feel and the setting down to a T here. And again, that ultimate showdown at the end where you're really rooting on McCready there. Ennio Morricone that does the score in this, that opening scene with the helicopter and that dog as well. Just a fantastic film, guys. And the definition of how a remake is done, how you do a remake, and in my opinion, the greatest remake that ever lived and will always continue to be the greatest remake of all time. Do remakes get better than this, guys? In my opinion, they don't. It's just another level of goodness here. So that is John Carpenter's The Thing. But the total opposite, where the remake I've heard is absolutely abysmal, but the original is, in my opinion, one of the greatest films, one of the greatest horror films ever made. The remake of this apparently is just unforgivable. There's no redeeming factors about it, which is why I'm gonna avoid that fucking thing like that fucking thing. I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna avoid The Thing because I actually love that thing. I love that film. I'm gonna avoid that remake as my life depends on it, because this original is just a horror masterpiece here. And here we have John Carpenter with The Fog. Oh, guys, this was just love at first sight. Like, all of these other movies are just, again, when I was, a time when I was really, really getting into horror back in 2018. And I think I watched this on the Horror Channel about 6-7 years ago for the first time, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with this film. The setting with Antonio Bay on the 100th anniversary. I think it's set in April, actually, come to think of it, coincidentally. But again, just a wonderful, phenomenal film, again, where you've got, again, that real sort of, that, again, that, it's that fisherman, that is that ship captain, that fisherman, that is telling the story of the tale of the fog on the 100th anniversary of Antonio Bay, around this campfire. Just such an eerie, atmospheric way to kickstart the film. Again, that coastal setting and that seaside town setting, it just works wonders for this. Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis are a great duo to this. A wonderful kind of slow burn opening scene where you're focusing on the town itself. Either it could be a petrol station or a garage. And again, you've got the radio in the background there. It is just amazing, this film is. The radio station as well, is it KBL, I think it is, radio. And it just really sets up the mood and tone of the movie. That DJ, that lass in there, that DJ, who I think might have been John Carpenter's wife, actually. She is fantastic in this. I could go on, and that awesome, again, side story, learning about the fog, and it's foretold by Hal Holbrook as this priest. Janet Leigh is even in this as well. Just brilliant, brilliant movie, and just one of my absolute favourite films of all time. And yep, it's maybe unpopular that I'm putting this above The Thing, but guys, honestly, on another day, The Fog, The Thing could just be on an equal level of how much I love both of those movies. For me, they're both of my top 2 John Carpenter films. So that is The Fog there at number 2. And my number 1 favourite film of the 1980s, which is going to be no surprise to a lot of people, what I have put as number 1. Of course, Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, in my opinion, and in my opinion, the greatest, like, Stephen King adaptation, even though I know there's a lot there that wasn't rendered from the book to the film. And I actually love the book. I might just slightly prefer the book, but in terms of a film based off a Stephen King novel, I just think this is one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion, and just absolutely phenomenal. Like, again, at the time when I was really starting to get into horror as a genre, probably the year 2018. So I would have been about 20 years of age when I was really getting into horror as a genre. And that is the absolutely incredible The Shining. Yeah, my number 1 favourite horror film ever. My favourite film of the 1980s, which coincidentally was the kickstart of the 80s in 1980. And just a masterful, phenomenal film that is just fucking fantastic in it, guys. It is just unbelievable. Just the setting with the Overlook Hotel, and that real sort of isolated and just atmospheric setting that's very haunting and riveting to the core. The again, the character work in this film, and what they do with this setting and this like family of 3 characters in there, and what they do is just, and Stanley Kubrick does, is just a master of his craft. And again, there's obviously been, you know, history there and behind the scenes of, like, obviously with like Shelley Duvall and so forth, and Stephen King hating the film, but still nonetheless it is just an amazing horror film. That iconic opening scene with the credits and that eerie music. Again, Jack Torrance, who goes from a bit unhinged to imitating antagonist to the story, where you really see a different shifting tone with his character, and the sense of isolation and the pressure and the, you know, the change in the weather really gets the better of him. That side story with Room 237 with Danny, Doc and Tony, it's just a fucking fantastic film, guys. And yeah, it was absolutely glorious to see this film, the extended edition, on the big screen at the tail end of last year. And again, the wintry setting, the classic Here's Johnny, that very dark, riveting scene with the Room 237, that lady coming out of the bathtub. It's nightmare fuel, wonderful. The Shining, and a film that I try and watch every Halloween without fail there. So that's my favourite ever horror film and my favourite film of the 1980s. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this top 10 of the 1980s video. And many thanks to Ollie for very kindly requesting me to do this. I had an amazing time doing this video, Ollie, and talking about some of my favourite films ever, even including my honourable mentions there. And yep, so I think I am going to tag a couple of people to do this. I'm going to tag Mike at Cinema Axeman, because I think Mike could do a corker of a job. And this is all optional, guys. No pressure whatsoever. This is absolutely optional here. Mike at Cinema Axeman. I'm actually going to go with Neil at Neil's Movie Channel, because I'll be very intrigued to hear Neil's top 10 of the 80s. And another person to mention, AP, the Movie Cheer podcast. So the people I thought I would tag to, by optional, it's absolutely optional, to take on the challenge of doing a top 10 favourite films from the 1980s there. So absolutely optional, guys. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I just thought I would tag 3 people at the end of the video there. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for all your continuous support. And again, hope everyone has a fantastic Easter, a great bank holiday weekend. As I'm recording this on Saturday the 4th of April, I am off to see Echo and the Bunnymen tonight at Newcastle City Hall. Really can't wait for that. First time seeing the Mighty Bunnymen. Going back to my parents tomorrow for a couple of days over Easter. Gonna have some lovely family time with my parents there. And yeah, I'm gonna watch plenty of movies, do some catch up on reading, listening to hip hop as well. So yeah, fantastic stuff. So thanks, guys, for all your continuous support. And I think my next video will probably be my next up and coming DVD haul video there. So thanks for watching. Cheers for stopping by. And until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.
It's Ollie and Sammy G in the house, talking shit, watching flicks. Sam can't sing, but he is nearly good at it. Ollie does the dancing. Sam is entrancing. Sam has added another one to the collection today. In conclusion, today has been a great day.